Right. Go with the Twitch and actually share the link, that would be helpful. Copy link. Hello Bucko, hello Will. I am good, Bucko. How are you? A bit quickly on the cough, but besides that I'm alright. Right, there we go, there we go. Alright, nice man. So, good evening everyone. Welcome to tonight's stream. My name is Brian, your resident commentator for the Sunday tier, which is slowly coming to an end. We are well and truly into the final moments of this season, and the championship could be decided tonight. We have Dorling and we have Gunnar, who are, well, fighting it out. That being said, can't actually see Dorling. Is Dorling pulled out? Wait. Oh my god, Dorling's pulled out. What the fuck? What's happened here then? Eh? Oh, no way. Dorling's been called into work. Well, ignore ignore the title, then it's just Texas. It's not the championship decider. I mean, it could still be. Well, basically what was gonna happen, probably, was a sprint race where Dorling had to finish in P4 or higher, and Gunnar of course had to then win the sprint race. But basically, to nail himself in as a champion, Dorling had to finish P4. But that can all be scrapped now. It is just Gunnar who has to gain 35 points this round to take the championship to Australia. Now, it is still very difficult to score 35 points, considering, well, if you finish P2 in the main race, you need second in the sprint as well. If you finish third in the main race, you can't even do it. So Gunnar has to finish in the top 2 in both races. Otherwise, Dorling wins this championship without even being here. So it's still on, but yeah, tonight's a sprint race for those who are not familiar with said sprint format. First, a quick little qualifying session, which we are seeing now on board with Joey Lucchesi, who is about to round off his lap, and he will hit the final corner, swoop it round, and put himself into P3. Oh, this is Hilly. I was looking at the wrong name. But after this qualifying session, 25% sprint race with a mandatory pit stop if it is dry. Then after that we'll get those results, and then the top 10 from that race will be reversed, and we'll have a 50% normal race. So, with all the household tasks being out of the way, we can see that a whale out of nowhere has taken pole position. Could this be the one where I actually see a whale win? Now, last week qualifying was extremely close. At the moment, not as close, still very, very close. It would make. I might even shed a tear if that happens. Like, that would make my weekend absolutely amazing. And his as well, to be fair. Now, with a little side eye as well. The constructors also very close. Tonight won't be like the main focal point of that. But it's only 14 points back on Alpine for Haas. Then McLaren is only 15 points back. And then, well, Cash App is still in it. RB is, or Red Bull is also still in it, but they're a bit further back. And their task seems more impossible, especially with the two Alpines in P4 and P5. That could be massive for their Constructors' Championship. And with Watson and Ryan, to be fair, hasn't set a lap yet, and he is, well, nearing on starting one, so we'll be with him. But Haas and McLaren need big results. Hilly! Hello, Lucas. I'll put it in the chat as well. Nice little emoji for you. Alright, this is for Ryan. Says he's fastest through sector 1. I don't know, over the years of doing comms, I don't know how much I can actually believe in that. It's immediately flashbanged as he comes onto the straight. The glare is insane. This is not as bad as like it was in a couple of years ago when you could just literally see nothing on the straight. Very beautiful cut into the twisty section. Let's try and see the apex for a bit. There we go. Hits the second apex. Hits the third as well. Swing it to the left. Rounds the final corner. This will probably be close to the edge of the top 5. No, not even that. What am I saying? What do I know? It's fastest. By a tenth and just over a tenth. I was looking at the time and he was like on par with Hilly coming into that final corner. But that exit must have been good. Great lap by Ryan. Puts himself on provisional pole for the sprint. Let's go to War. Not actually War, that's the good name of this driver. In the Aston Martin. I haven't seen this one yet. This one's a new face to me. But his name is War. I believe this is free because it's not like a sprint weekend. It's a 25% race weekend. So they should just have the normal tire set. Yep. So probably 3 sets of softs and a set of medium. I highly doubt anyone is going for the harder tire selection anyways. Gunnar takes provisional pole back, 132.1. I was gonna say, is that just like esports line or something? But no, he completed his lap. And Hilly, first to break into the 131s with a 991. That is very close, and Will does the exact same. That was Hilly who almost made contact with the Ferrari. And Will now back in that saddle for provisional pole. Hayes into 5th. JSS has invalidated. 6 minutes to go in qualifying. That is some beautiful interpretation of track limits by Delano, who got passed by Emerson. Heh? It was an Alpine. I was gonna transition swiftly into it, but it wasn't even an Alpine. What? What car was that? Honestly, there's too much blue. Give me different colors. I cannot handle all the blue, different shades. Robin, I highly doubt is on a lap. So let's move over to... Well, someone must be on a lap. There we go. Joey the Jetsy. He is improving by a second. Yet that still might not even be close to P18. For sure has a lot more time to find out in this final sector. He has to. Rounds the final corner. And to be fair, he has only 6 tenths off, but not a big improvement as I thought he would have in the final sector. Now most people are back in the pit lane. Here is JSS, who is just waiting, going slowly. Let's clear there to set up his, what I would assume to be final attempt. Killing on a lap? No. Might be about to start one though. No, he doesn't have enough fuel. Why is it so difficult to find people on laps today? Here we go. Admiral. Now if he ain't on a lap, I am about to lose my mind. He's improving. Mate, it's gonna happen today. The will win is on. I want it, I need it, I need a will win. Admiral decided his lap wasn't enough and he pulls into the pit lane and he will not continue, which means we can finally go onto JSS probably. Where is he? Here he is. Because he is about to start. Oh, why ruin? Is it? it do I smell beef there? Do steers and whale have beef? Deservedly so. That are heights I would never have imagined of Will. Has Will actually ever won a race? No offense, Will. I don't know if you're still listening or not. But, has he? Ah, okay. Yeah, I'm not really into the WAOF1 lore yet. We need like a book so I can get all the lore, get a good read on everything. All the backstories of everyone. Oh, so Will hasn't won yet in his own league. Interesting. Well, maybe tonight's the night. JSS across the line can only muster a P4 and he's not even far off. But it's just not enough. Hayes, I don't think is on the lap. There she is. None in overtake. Interesting battery. Up 2 tenths, that would be enough for maybe P3, but not for pole. If he jumps up from P17 to P1, then I don't know. Right, Hayes up to P5 in the end did not find enough for P3, but it is all so close. And there's an invalidation from Will. So the pole position might be in trouble after all. Hilly has just started. Where is Gunnar? Gunnar's not too far behind. Gunnar is up a 10th. Qualifying is done. It's not gonna be Will. Either gonna be Gunnar or Hilly, and Hilly sets that fastest first sector. And this one I'm actually willing to believe. Hilly does not need to improve by a lot, only 6,000s. But Gunnar needs to find a couple of tenths. Let's check Gunnar's sector split here. He is up by 2 tenths. That would be enough. Gunnar doing what he needs to do. Hilly up by 2.5 tenths. It's looking to be an absolute stormer of a lap from Hilly if he can make this stick. Ryan jumps up to P4 as well, making it even closer at the top. Gunnar will come across the line. Gunnar does not get it. Is messed up in the final sector. How about Hilly? He does by 3 tenths of a second. That is an amazing left. Now Akakev, the only one who can still improve. Can he take a magical pull? Imagine the scenes if he did. But no, it will not be. Improves but stays P17. Hilly takes a massive pole position by 3 tenths of a second. And Gunnar currently not in the position to wrap this championship up. but only one spot out of it. Now, of course, if he wins the main race, then he can finish as low as P5 in this sprint. But we don't know what will happen in the main race. But, yeah, massive lap from Hilly gives himself pole. If we take a picture of the grid, and then I am gonna spare my voice a bit because I'd like to keep talking for the most for the most rest of this week. So be back when the action starts again. Right, there we go, there we go. Formation lap is underway. Now, question is, do you take the softs first or the mediums first? Answer is quite honestly very mixed. It is the majority on mediums. Now, what I would think is definitely start on softs. But you never know. It's just what a humble me would do. But the undercut is big here, so And then again, he doesn't really know how big the undercut is gonna be. It's probably gonna be like 1 or 2 laps, but hey, we move. Hello, good evening. A big wolf in the house. Bit of a gap from JSS, who is surrounded by a whole bunch of soft. Now Hilly as well, we know him as not the best starter in the world. That might cause for some chaos into turn 1. Probably will get a decent launch, a decent enough launch, but those 2 guys behind on the softs will make it very interesting into turn 1 as we wait for everyone to line up on the grid. So I'll remove all of this. Here is JT Gent, the final one. We'll line up to the grid. And then we move to Hilly. Well, someone in the pack at least. For the 5 lights. And we are underway in Texas. It's not a great start for both guys on the front row. And it's Gunnar who splits them both 3 wide into turn 1. Gunnar takes the lead. Hilly tries to switch it back. Cannot. Gunnar leads into turn 1 and everyone has made it through. That is impressive to say the least. That's 4 wide. Oh, I don't know who that is. I think it's Robin. Contact made. Robin is round. Only Robin though. Did not see any damage fly off. Robin still going. Oh! And there's Warren Watson. What's happened there? They both get 10 seconds for collision with each other. And that seems to be some big damage for War. Perry makes the corner. Now onto the lead. Gunnar already pulled quite a big gap. Here's Hayes going down the inside, or at least had a look. Delano is on the inside, however, of Admiral. On the mediums compared to the better softs. A bit of wheel banging going on. Tries to switch it back. Admiral not too great with the apex speed. And Delano cannot make the move happen yet. Back to the lead. You can already see Gunnar has a massive gap. Biggest gainer of the start, Joey Lucchesi from the back row up to P14. And Gunnar has pulled away by 1.5 seconds from P3. And he's doing what he needs to do to keep the championship alive. Watson and War immediately pit. So they'll have a long stint. The weaving immediately going on, but here comes Hayes down the straight. Does she have enough straight line speed to maybe think about ascend into the next turn? No, she does not. No Doring tonight. He, like 15 minutes before the race, he got called into work. So yeah, he's not available tonight, and this is the ultimate opportunity for Gunnar to catch up some points, and even then it would still be difficult, but not what Dorling would have wanted. And Robin also with 3 seconds. That gap has come down a little bit there. Gunnar, to be fair, he can just stabilize the gap. He doesn't really need to do anything, and even if he does get overtaken, he's doing what he needs to do. Oh, there's another yellow flag, and there's the person with the most gainage on lap 1. He is now down to P18 and basically last of the people in contention. Joey Lucchesi with a spin. And Hilly is closing in. Gunnar is out of battery already. Hilly can save quite nicely, but that will gain him quite a big amount on the straight. As no one else really seems to be able to make a move. And we'll have to wait for either a mistake or have to do it in an unorthodox place. We're still on the podium. That would still be fun. Admiral already pitting. Oh, he did start on the softs, but seems early. Ooh, Gunnar's made a mistake somewhere. Hilly now in DRS range. However, runs none through here. Might not gain as much. Gunnar though seems to be in trouble. Is on those soft compound tires, so this is probably the rate they fall off at. But then again, Hayes seems to be keeping up just fine. Is Gunnar starting to feel the pressure a bit? If he falls to 1, then he could fall more. And he gains rapidly. He has a think about going on the inside, as everyone would with the closing speed he has, but not yet. Right behind Hilly as well, there is still Will. Oh, and they're in. Both Hilly and Gunnar are in, but Hilly's going for the mediums. Is Hilly going to hards? Yes. Oh. So we are seeing hards. Very interesting. That might be an absolute masterclass from Hilly. But then I don't really understand why he started on the mediums. But to be fair, it's got it in very nicely within DRS range. We'll have to push a little bit through the corners here. His tires will be cold. If he can keep within 1 second, it will be massive for Hilly. Especially at the end of the race. He's gonna come back easily. I think Hilly just may have dropped out of it, huh? He has not. Does have a Merc in between them too, but JT Gent just lets them past. Hilly not being nice to Gunnar. No handouts tonight. Hilly wants to win. Hayes also stays out. Or goes in. Will stays out. JSS Kieran also in. JSS also going to the hards. This might have been the right call here. But that all depends on how quickly those softs fall off. Ooh, that is close on exit. What? Have we just skipped a lap or something? Hilly now behind Hayes. And 3 seconds behind Buller. As Wars retired, that's in the pit lane. Gunnar is absolutely flying. What on earth? That pace is insane. The gap's now 4 seconds. We're a sector further. Oh, Hilly. Gunnar's ahead of Robin as well. Hilly is not fighting hard enough. He needs to make moves. But he's not. Whale also pits. Might be close on exit between him and Hayes. So that's the fastest lap for Gunnar. There's Hayes. There is Will. And Will gets ahead. Can Hayes do the switchback? Answer is no. And suddenly Will is in the number 1 position to catch up to Gunnar. Well, not with those lines. But we'll have to make quick work of this. Otherwise, Will's tires will warm up and she won't be able to get past as easily. But yeah, it won't get much easier than that. Gets past and up to P5. Which is in theory after pit stop speed 2. And Ryan has re-overtaken Hilly. Good with the fuel saving, but bad call on the strategy somehow. Stellado also pits. Close. So at the moment both Red Bulls in a 1-2 position, but they both have not pit yet. Here comes Ryan who tries to push it past Whale. It's gonna be close. Needs to have a big move on the brakes from Whale if he wants to stay ahead, but Ryan brakes even later. And gets that move done beautifully. He's also already starting to gain on Gunnar. Now if that keeps up, she will definitely catch by the end of the race. And Ryan might as well, but they'll have to work together if they want to both get him. As a quick reminder, Gunnar has to finish basically in the top 2 for both races. Unless he wins the main race, then he can finish as low as P5 in the sprint. If he wants to be sure, then... well... P1 in both would be nice. P2 in both. Whoops. Bucko and Ben going at it, but Ben that really not quick in the straight. Why are you in none in the straight, mate? That won't that won't make you quick. Watson's still miles behind everyone besides Joey Jesse. There is the first Red Bull in going to the softs. And Gunnar overtakes Boss Membrane for the lead, and Delano with the fastest lap of the race. Boss Membrane now down to P2. And with every closing lap, it's looking more and more likely that Gunnar will win this. And with that, he would need, well, a second still to keep the championship going. Boss Membrane, to be fair, keeping with Gunnar. Gunnar doesn't need to save fuel. Has no battery remaining though. Cut now down to 3 seconds. He's gaining about 7/10 a lap. If not more. Will be around that. Wouldn't be enough to 4 full laps remain. And the gap 2.9 seconds. Yellow flag, that is for a Haas driver, that would be Watson. He's not having a great race whatsoever. And another yellow flag, and that is for Boss Membrane on cold tires. He's at a moment, he stays ahead of Akrakev though. And another yellow flag, that is still Boss Membrane. Oh, and he's on the grass. Oh, Wheel going for the podium. It's down the inside and he gets it. Switchback from Ryan. But it's Wheel. And now Hilly needs to immediately capitalize on this as well. Can he though? No, he cannot. Not on that exit at least. The Wheel podium is back on. Another lap completed by the top 2 and of course everyone else. 8/10 is what's been gained. Which would mean Hayes could potentially on the final lap get one chance at overtaking Rooney. Oh, and Boss Membrane is retired in the pit lane. I keep thinking every time that it's not in the pit lane, but it is. You gotta remember as well that for the sprint race everything will be reversed, which would mean currently that Emperor would take the lead as there's Ryan going on the inside of Will. Will switches it back, doesn't quite have the grip to make that stick, but how awesome that would have been. At the moment Emperor would be on pole position for the race, with Licorius in second, who to be fair is swapping about with JSS, or Admiral and JSS are swapping about. And JSS takes P7. And now we will switch to the battle for the lead because Hayes is within DRS range. Difference in battery, they're level. But Hayes will have the better tires and more grip. Look at the difference! The gaining is insane! Might even make a move before the straight, at least showing Gunnar that she's there. Now onto the straight, there's not even a real fight to this, but Gunnar of course will give it everything to stay ahead. Not make it easy, but he knows that the moment Hayes is past, he won't really be able to keep up. They both break very late, but Hayes is through and now needs to pull out as big of a gap as possible. Use everything that's left in those tires. Try and get as big of an advantage as he can. That might be enough. Final lap has commenced. At the moment, Hayes leads. Gunnar is in second. And Ryan and Will and Hilly and Delano are fighting for the third spot. But I kinda wanna keep an eye on this unless something big happens behind. Something big did happen because Hilly gets a penalty. But Hayes has broken out of DRS. So now we'll go to this battle. Huge amount of ERS left for Ryan, which will come in clutch on this straight. Will give it absolutely everything. 5/10 the gap. I don't think that's closing in rapidly enough. We will go for it around the outside, breaks late. Ryan takes the defensive line. Will with the switchback. They're side by side. Surely not sticking it round there. Oh my god, he has. That is absolutely beautiful. What a way to get the podium. Still not over though. A couple of corners left. Quickly go on to Hayes, who will come across the line, takes victory in the sprint. Gunnar in second. Ryan do anything on exit. No, he cannot. It's a whale podium. It's Ryan in third, Delano in fifth, and it's Hilly sixth. Then Licorius, JSS, Admiral, and Kieran gets pole position by 18 thousandths of a second. That is mentally close. And now this means that Gunnar absolutely has to finish in second. At the moment, I'd say leading candidate for driver of the day would be Hayes. Now, it is time for me to quickly get the race director, if that's necessary. I don't even know, but I just like to do it just in case. Holy track limits. And of course the final race results. And then yeah, we'll go into the lobby where we shall get going. Right, and until we get going again, I'll be saving my voice a bit. Right, we're loading back in. I doubt the race will start immediately, but at least we can have some conversation about possible strategies to see yeah, who does what. Right, well, everyone's still on the mediums, so yeah. I'll give it a few more minutes and then we'll check again. Right, we have given the driver some time to look over their strategy. Have we though? Boring. Nobody, really. Nobody on a different strategy. Also, if you look at this, Hilly is actually in a very good position. Ah, there we go. Emperor switches to the softs. That's what we like to see. Finally, someone with the big brain. There we go. Bucko as well. And Hilly, last moment, switch to the hards. Sorry. I hope that's not too loud in your guys' ears. The coughing. If it is, then well, tough shit. But that's the tires. So a whole bunch of semis, 2 with a hard on, and 1 not turned on at all. And Ryan messes up somewhere. He's made contact with someone. Question just is with who. It's gonna be a kick, no matter what. Whether that's a Will or Delano, I don't know. And Kiernan doing all the weaving. Right. Line-uppings will happen. And then we are finally on the way for the main race. The race of Maine. He's messed it up. Damn it. That was one of the most insane angles I'd ever seen, but he's messed it up. And so is Admiral, so this is gonna be a very close battle into turn 1. Let's see how it ends then. We'll wait for the lights, the 5 red lights, and we are underway. Is gonna good reaction from Kieran, and that's gonna be 4 wide into turn 1 again. It is Kieran who keeps it. That is, who even is that? That's JSS, I believe. Oh, contact everywhere. I see Gooner being pushed around. Oh, and both kick Saubers are to the back. They were the ones that made contact at first. Haley's had a horrible stunt. Everyone's going everywhere. What is going on? There's another person around. It's Joey Lucchesi. Haley, Whale, Delano, all down. Hayes already up to P4. Gooner already up to P6. Someone's just completely off the track there. What on earth? Biggest gainer, yeah, would be Hayes and Watson. Watson now in a fight with Bucko. I'm gonna put this on immediately because it's just everyone's everywhere already. Ben goes off the track, loses a position, cuts across Robin, loses another position. And now Kiernan has done the exact same thing Gooner did. Except the lap was 2 seconds slower. But he leads by over a second. Whale is in, Haley is in. Delano has to stay out. Might not have big enough damage. And that is bad, especially for Hilly, who's on the hards. We could always switch back to them, but definitely not ideal. It's Gunnar at the moment struggling to keep up with Ryan. And no one on the top guy is really making a move, but here is Bucko going down the inside of Watson, other way around. Watson going down the inside of Bucko makes that move stick. JSS right behind them as Bucko and Watson make contact. Oh, that's 3 wide. That won't end well. It has. I have way too little faith in people, apparently. These things go side by side through the fast right-handers, but the inside line will be king. And War, by the way, from starting last up to P11. Surely not, that would be a massive send if he does, and he does it. Wow, and I think that was with minimal contact. In the end, JSS gets the position back. And behind Akakev, Robin also side by side through the S's. Robin backs out of it. With the two Alpines and the two Astons showing some great racing. There is a penalty for Bucko. The first corner cutting penalty already on lap 3. That is not very promising for his race. Kieran can just control the pace, and actually here comes Admiral around the outside of Licorius. Go to the inside. Oh, but Licorius is still there. Licorius has some great grip. And Licorius defends that beautifully. And now Hayes right behind. Almost pushing Admiral through the corner. But no overtakes there just yet. Admiral had an ultimate attempt. Can't quite make it stick as Emperor already pits. At attempt number 2 for Admiral. This time he is in an amazing position. Might even see Hayes overtaking Licorius here as well. It's gonna be at least Admiral to get the most horrid camera angle of all time. Just lovely. Put me in the sky, man. Admiral finally made his way past, and in the meantime Kiernan put that gap up for the lead for 2 seconds. Hilly will be looking for a safety car as soon as possible. He is miles behind the wheel. He's made 2 stops. He's back onto the hards. There is a yellow flag, and that's JT Gent doing some the donuts. Kiernan is slowing down. The gap only down to a second now. He's starting to fumble. These two are still very close, but no possibility of an overtake into turn 1 here. For that, the gaps are a bit too far stretched out. If Admiral were to make an overtake, it's gonna have to be on the main straight, unless Kieran somehow makes a dum-dum move somewhere and loses a lot of time. But at the moment, it's looking good for Admiral to make a move on the straight. Licorious also close to set man in the Ferrari, and could also maybe profit on this straight. Admiral closing in though for the first time this race for the lead of the race, and we once again do not get blessed with a good camera angle. We make a bit of contact, bit of wheel banging going on, but Admiral into the lead. And Kiernan has lasted a full 5.5 laps until he finally had to concede position and has now dropped down to second. Licorious also immediately gaining. He might have a look into turn 1. No, he will not. Ooh. By having a look into turn 1, I did not mean up his diffuser. But hey, each to their own, I guess. These two close as well. They're side by side into the S's, and ahead of them too. One of the Alpines has escaped this battle, but the other is still massively fighting with the Aston Martins. And his teammate has been replaced by Buckner. Hayes trying to look for a move on Licorious. She finds it round the outside, but Licorious positions his car nicely. Contact made between the two, and now attack has to turn into defense for Hayes, because Ryan had a run. And Ryan now has to do the same, because there's Gunnar. These camera angles, man, they're pissing me off. Just show me the battle, man. Gunnar takes P5. Gunnar still needs to get 3 more positions for him to be eligible to keep the championship going. When we finally be blessed. Looks like it. Oh, big lockup from Hayes. That was 2 tires locked up. Somehow no monumental crash. And actually a beautiful fight. Hayes and Kiernan wheel banging through the corners. Hayes finally gets that done. But that's a beautiful switchback. It's just a shame it won't work. Because the outside line there just doesn't. But very nice move by Hayes. And the cracks starting to show for Kieran. See, why can't we have this camera angle when we're fighting? It's literally just the other side of the fucking road. This would show so much more. I guess you can't have anything in this game, or everything in this game. Right. Well, this time Licorius under pressure. Hayes looking to get P2 back. And try and fight for P1. Licorius has not got a lot of battery at all. Stop! The fucking helmet cam. They make contact. But Hayes is through beautifully around the outside. I can now start chasing what would be Apple. So he might be nearing on the first pit stops already. So that could be a big moment in the race. Ryan has arrived on the back of Gunnar. Gunnar struggling with tire wear. That is not his strong point in these races so far. Ryan has a lot of battery, but Gunnar has barely any. Still gonna be tough to get past though. Trying to line them up. Can't quite make that work. Oh, pit stops. Kiernan, Gunnar and Ryan. They are first in, they'll go to the hearts, they'll try and make it to the end. Tire wear will be high. We are in quite a bit of clean air though. Question is for how long will that be? As Ryan will have only Emperor ahead of him. For this to work, it really just depends on how quickly they catch that little train ahead and how quickly they get through it. Admiral and Hayes also into the pit lane. Trying to immediately cover off the undercut. That big train also immediately pits. Now this is gonna be close on pit exit. We're gonna go to Gunnar. But one lap wasn't enough and they stayed behind. Akakev actually stays out. That's gonna cost Gunnar a little bit of time. Akakev does not stay in the way for long though. See what did they put on all hearts. Top 3 still yet to pit. Watson from 15th to 2nd. That is mental. Gunnar is under pressure from Kieran, but gets it done. Now, in theory, in a third. So at the moment, if everything was to finish after pit stops as is, Gunnar would not continue the championship to the next stage. Oh, that is contact exit. So I'm really trying to talk a lot, but the more I talk, the more I have to cough. So I'm gonna tone it down just a little bit. And, try and save some for if something exciting happens. Fair play to Kieran, by the way, for still keeping with Gunnar even after Gunnar has gotten past. Still putting pressure on McLaren, as they are starting to lose time to Hayes. All of this could be happening and it could still all just mean nothing if a safety car were to come out. To come out, not came out. Kevin still has opportunities. Showing great. That's the battery gone, and of course also a penalty, so even if he were to get past, I don't think it would really matter a lot. As Hayes has caught up to Admiral, who has caught up to Bucker. Rossi has a look. Hayes tried to go down the inside, but there wasn't really any space there. Like there is there. For that world. That is not what they would want to do, because this would mean Gunnar gets closer and closer and closer. But Bucco is a big problem here, and of course he is. I mean, he will try and hold him up for as long as he can to help his teammate win this championship. And there in the end, it goes into the far past. And Bucco doesn't have the others. In the end, it did not really help him. And Bucco did his job. He's now pitted for his final attempt, and he is gonna let Gunnar past. That gap now 2 seconds. But if Gunnar were to finish third, then he will not win the championship tonight. As we get just a quick little reminder for you guys, Gunnar needs to finish second to keep the championship alive. If he finishes third, he does not get enough points. He is done. He can no longer win the championship. So here goes Hayes. She goes past 4P1. Is he done? And into P1. Gunnar feeling the love from the shed somewhere in England. But it is one beautiful shed. It started to get a bit cloudy. Will this race be affected by rain? Gunnar is gaining on Apple. He was supposed to lose on it. "11 laps still remain. Gunnar's difficult period hasn't happened yet. He is not been that good on his tires from what we have seen so far tonight. So he might struggle at the end. You think, guys? The moment the gaps are quite stable. There is a caution that is for someone, I don't know. Let's quickly have a look at the penalties. It's 3 seconds for everyone but Bucco, who has 6. A very quick look. Nothing else really to it. The biggest gainer so far would be War from the last to P10. Yellow flag, sector 1, that is with one of the kick sours again. And it's a wheel again. And what I was about to say, shocker, it's with Hilly again as well. But no. It was just JT Gent letting people past. Bucko closing in on Watson. Straight line speed is happening as there is a wheel who was actually spun that time. Hilly gets past, so does Bucko. Again, this track is horrible for the camera angles. I'll keep saying it until they fix it. But good move by Bucko, moves himself up to P7, now can set the charge to try and get some more points off Haas. That is exactly what he needs to do, as this is a terrible race for Alpine in the constructors. They would only be getting points for P10 and P12, which is 20 points. And a great race so far for what would be the McLaren team. And to be fair, Haas as well, they would all be gaining. I think McLaren would take the lead as things stand going into the final race. And Hilly and Will are both in again. They'll finish last this race. Hopefully they will have fun though. Left front wing change and the set of hearts for Will. And Hilly is actually out miles ahead. Admiral, how do you call it, tethering on the edge of DRS. Oh guys, I don't know, but I think your prediction might be wrong. There's another penalty for clearing. Even further, I will drop it behind the Ryan. That's the gap from continuing the championship on. And not. Also, in terms of driver of the day, I just realized that Hayes, of course, isn't actually in this tier. So, she's not eligible for driver of the day. So, looking at it then, I don't want to be involved in the Drivers' Championship battle with Driver of the Day, so I'm not giving it to Gunnar, nor would I Dorling. But then, besides that as well, look at War from last to P9. He had such a bad sprint. I had to retire early on. At the moment, I'd say he is the front runner for getting Driver of the Day in my eyes. But I don't know what you guys think. Of course, it's not the end of the race yet. Everything could still happen. I think we have reached the phase, however, where Gunnar is in a struggle stage, and with 7 laps still to go, that is very early on. Cooler is massively dropping time. What happened there? He's for sure made a mistake. There's no way he didn't. Apple, he is still hanging on, but barely. For him, 1.2 seconds out of DRS range. So that could be the moment Gunnar was waiting for. Now could be under pressure from Victorious behind. Probably best for Gunnar's race to not let Licorius get past Kieran, but I don't think he will have a choice. Because here comes Licorius, he's gonna have to do it round the outside of Kieran and backs out of it. Time starting to run out for Gunnar. If we go on board, we can probably just about see his championship hopes in the horizon. And though Licorius has to make a move somewhere. He tries everything, but he can't find the gap. Let's not have a safety car right now. There is the gap for Licorius. Has to hang it round the outside, which he can do. He's still there. Turns to the inside. That is beautiful for Licorius. If you can't do it on the straight, might as well do it in the corners. He has passed Kieran though, still right up his ass. But yeah, with penalties, will drop behind anyway. If there were to happen, if a safety car were to happen, this would have to be the lap. If it doesn't happen this lap, then it is over. This is where Gunnar really needs to be. He tried to get away from the Corius, but that's to no avail. He will now be in due course for a battle. So we have now hit lap 25. 4 laps remain. Gunnar needs to find a second and a bit a lap on Admiral somehow, somewhere, if he wants to get second. But War is also reserving. He is. There's Haley with a penalty. Ay. Doesn't get better for him, does it? Flag in Sector 1, that is for the Mercedes. It would be for JT Gent. We are on lap 26, time as well and truly run out, and we're gonna quickly go to Watson and Bucko because these two are going at it. They are fighting about. Watson has an opportunity to do Bucko into turn 1. Have to be some breaking move. Oh! Wow! Out of nowhere! He gets P7. Very beautifully done. Licorius is very close on Gunnar as well. Licorius is passed. Gunnar has to defend it, and he will with all his might, but a bit of wheel banging. Licorius passed for the lead, or not the lead, for P3. Now on the penultimate lap. Might be all over. Oh, who's that? That's Bucko. Oh, puncture. He's not letting me switch the camera to show. No, he doesn't, but he does pit. Might have a puncture. I don't know. I'll have to ask in in the comms chat if I'm actually allowed to give driver of the day to a reserve, because Hayes has been absolutely fantastic today. She was amazing in the sprint to win that one, and that's just absolutely fought her way back in the main race as well, from P10 to P1. Massively controlled the pace. Done very well in my eyes. Just driver of the day, but don't know if I'm allowed to give it to a reserve. Well, then the question is, do you want her to have a full-time seat? Because if you do, I'll give it to her. Not the full-time seat, the driver of the day. I do not have the powers to give it a full-time seat. Right, so the final corners have arrived for her. And well, she's done very well today. She'll round the final corner. Show the boys who's boss. It is Hayes who takes victory in Texas. It is Admiral who takes second, and Licorius in third, and with Gunnar now locked into P4. That means that Dorling is your champion for the Season 8 WAOF Sunday series. Didn't even show up for it, couldn't show up for it, but Gunnar with a P2 in the sprint and with a P4 here, he gains 31 points and he needed 35, and that is not enough. And that means, yeah, Dorling has wrapped it up, and absolutely deserved. He was amazing in the first half of the season. There's a point where I wondered if anyone else would even win a race in the Sunday tier. Yeah, just amazing drive. And now the focus can be fully onto the constructors' battle. With McLaren doing a good job. Same with Haas. And Alpine not with the most of lucky races. That could be very close into next race. Matter of fact, that might even be close to dead heat. So we wait for Joey Lucchesi to come across the line, which he has now. If, yeah, I don't even know. If Hayes can't get it, I'll leave it up to everyone else to take a vote. But if Hayes can, then she is my driver of the day. Yeah, at the moment, Haas, I think, would be the strongest candidate for the Constructors' Championship next week. But it's still all to play for, you know? Still all to play for. There we go. That is it then. I'd like to thank you all for watching the stream. And yeah, be sure to tune in next week. Because even though the Drivers' Championship has concluded now, we will still have a massive battle for the constructors on our way. So please join us next week for the final race of the season. And without further ado, I'd like to wish you all a very, very good week next week. And yeah, have a good night.